So in this lesson, I want to talk about what we call inversions and playing with inversions. Up until this point, we've been playing triads and seventh chords in root position. And root position simply means that you have a root, a third, 1, 2, 3, a fifth, and a seventh. And we call this C major 7, and this would be root position. But you may notice that you can take the root of this chord and place it on the top. It's called and play it like this. That's called an inversion. In fact, it's the first inversion. You can also fold this E, the third of the chord, up to the top. The second inversion. You can take the fifth of the chord and place that on top. Third inversion. And then if you take the seventh, put it on top, you're back to root position. So you'd have root position, first inversion, second inversion, third inversion, and back to the root position. And each has a very unique sound. This you have the first, the third, the fifth, and the seventh. In the first inversion, you have a sixth, a 5, a fifth, and a third. As a matter of fact, the first inversion is typically referred to as a 5-3. There's always going to be a sixth. So the 5, the fifth, and the third are the identifying intervals. So first inversion, you would often see the numbers 5 and 3 written on top of each other, a 5 and then a 3 just below, to signify the first inversion. The second inversion, you would have fourth and a 3. It's a 4-3. So the second inversion we usually call a 4-3 chord. So we have root position, we have 6-5, which is first inversion, 4-3, which is second inversion. And if we go one further, we just call this a 2 chord. The seventh chord in its third inversion, we just use a numeral 2. So you'd have the Roman numeral of the chord, which would be 1, and then just next to it you'd have a little 2 to show the inversion is the third inversion. And that 2 refers to this second. And then back to root position. So root position, 6-5, 4-3, 2. And what would you do with these chords? What's very interesting, let's take for example the common 2-5-1 progression in jazz. In the key of C, you would have a 2, 5, 1, and that's playing them all in root position. But the voice, and that's fine, especially in pop and jazz music. It's fine to use root position chords. As a matter of fact, a lot of folks really prefer the sound. But in voice leading, and in more tasteful, maybe subtle voice leading, you might not be so interested in making these huge leaps in the voice leading. So you'd want to share common tones within a chord. So for example, if we have the 2 chord, and we want to go to the 5 chord, instead of jumping to the 5, to the G major, we could simply say, well, what are the 2 shared notes? What are the shared notes of this chord? And in D minor, that would be the D and the F. D and F are shared. So we could simply just drop the two voices to the G, and we have a 5-4-3 chord, a second inversion dominant chord, G major chord, G7. So this would be 2, 5, and then we want to go to 1, we say, oh, well, we just drop the lower 2. We're back in root position 1. So instead of doing 2, 5, 1, we get a smoother voice leading sound. Listen to the difference. And the voice leading is more subtle. It's a little more textured and tasteful, all through using inversions. So we're still playing a 5 chord here. We're just playing it in second inversion. And that's how you use inversions. 2, 5, 1. Here's another example. We can do a series of 6 2 5 1s. So here's the 6th chord in C major. It's all using inversions. So we'd have a 6, 2, 5, 1, or we could play 6, 2, 5, 1. We could do 6, 2, 5, 1. If you notice, that's the 6th. It's first inversion. 6, 2, 6, 2, 5, 1. Or we could start with the root position 6, 2, 5, 1. We could do a 1 chord. 4, 7, 3, 6, 5, 1. This is all very smooth voice leading. So these are inversions. And how do you practice these inversions? So there's a lot of different ways to practice them. You can do a right and left hand together. I'd say to start out, just use your left hand and choose a key a week. Today, for illustrative purposes, to make it easy, we're just sticking to the natural C major key. With all just white notes, just to get the concepts down, because that's usually the easiest. You can apply this to all keys, but let's just do C major here. Root position, 7th chord. Now let's go first inversion. You may hear that leaves the root off the bass, and it adds a beautiful kind of ambiguity. There's a C, the Roman numeral 1 chord. Just move it up to the next. Those are the first diatonic chords in the first inversion. So C, it puts the root in the top voice and the third of the chord in the bass. So C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G dominant 7, A minor, D diminished, C major. Likewise, you could practice the second inversion. Now the fifth's in the bass, and the third's in the top voice. C. Sorry about that. Next we could put the seventh in the bass. So we could practice the different inversions, root position, and the three inversions within the diatonic key, so that would be in the C major,